Okay, alright, so let's see. We are on example 14. Hopefully you've already completed number 3 in exercise 8D. And now you're ready for example 14, which is the next step. We're just baby stepping. We're just doing some baby steps right now, okay? Gradually getting more difficult. Just ever so gradually. Page 153. Okay. Write as a single fraction. It's pretty quiet in my house except for the cats. It's just me and Catherine. And Christy's in her room. And Jason is at dance practice. And my husband's at dance practice with my son, so, with Jason. So, I am left here with just Catherine. And the cats. So, leave it to the cats to be noisy. Anyway, so we're going to combine these fractions. Again, it's just the same thing we've been doing. It's really not any more difficult. It just looks more difficult maybe, but it's not really. It's just the same process over and over again, basically. We have to have the same denominator. So once again, think about what the number at the bottom is going to be. If you thought 6, you would be correct. Now, once again, just like we had another example like this, this is already a 6, so we don't have to do anything with that. We can just keep that. So what we're going to do is just write that x. We're good to go. Now, with this fraction, we have to make this 3 a 6. Keep pressing the wrong button, I guess. So we have to multiply that times 2 to get to 6. Now, what you do on the bottom, you must do on the top. But what a lot of students do is they make the mistake of just writing it like that, and then they'll put it on the 2 right there, and they forget to put it on the x. So a lot of students have this mastered, but I usually tell students to go ahead and put your parentheses, because then it reminds you to make sure you put the 2 on both those terms. So you have to distribute that 2 onto both terms. So it winds up being 2x minus 4 on the top. So make sure you put that 2 on both those terms. Some students don't understand why you have to put it on both. Well, why would you put it just on the 2 and not on the x? Or, why would you put it on the x and not the 2? Everything's fair, right? It's got to be fair. You can't just put it on the 2 and not on the x. Why would that be fair? Why does it make any sense to put it on the 2 and not the x? Why does it make any sense to put it on the x and not on the 2? So that's my answer to that. That's why you put it on both. So anyway, now we have this the same denominator, so we're ready to add them. You're going to write the common denominator, and you're going to just simply add the numerators. It's pretty simple. This one's pretty simple. When we get to the subtraction, it gets a little weird. I'll show you. You can combine x plus 2x is 3x. And just tack on that minus 4 over 6. We can't reduce that in any way. The reason why is because we can only reduce this if all 3 of these numbers are divisible by the same number, then we can reduce it. But since none of those numbers are divisible by the same thing, we therefore cannot reduce this fraction. So that is it for that one. That's all she wrote. Okay, let's look at this particular fraction. These two fractions right here. This one's kind of a doozy. Wow. Anyway, alright, so let's see. Start thinking about, you can pause the video again, and once again, if you want to start, trying to work this out on your own, you can, and then watch the video and see if you did it properly. There's one of my other cats in the video. If you thought you had to multiply that times 3 and that times 2, you would be correct. Make sure you put this 3 on the top with the parentheses, and that reminds you to distribute the 3 onto both terms. Now this one's a little bit tricky, okay? what I usually tell students is to go ahead and make this minus has to somehow go on both those terms. So usually what I tell students to do is go ahead and write this a plus and then multiply by -2. Since we have to multiply by 2, we'll just multiply this by -2. And then it's easier to remember to put the negative on there, because you're not only putting the 2 on there, you also have to put this negative there as well. So I usually also tell students to circle this. It reminds them, or reminds me, to put the whole thing, the negative and the 2, onto that. So there you go. So let's go ahead and do this. We have 3x plus 3 on the left hand side. That's over 6 plus -2 times x. This is -2 times x is -2x, and then -2 times -2 winds up being a +4. And to be careful with these, it's very easy to make a careless mistake. Very, very easy. So you have to be really careful with these. Keep the common denominator and add the numerators. 3x minus 2x. I'm going to go ahead and put my terms together just to save myself a step or two. Plus 3 plus 4 equals, winds up being just x plus 7 over 6. And that is it for that example. Simple as that. It's not too difficult. It looks difficult, and you have to make sure that you keep everything straight, especially with something like this. It's very, and especially when you have a minus in the middle, like what was there. It's very easy to make a mistake, so make sure you're really careful with these. Okay. All right. Well, you can go ahead and do number 4 in exercise 8D, and then we just have one more example, example 15. And then we will be done with this lesson, and then move on to the last lesson, and then be done with the chapter. So anyway, so I will see you in the next video.